Welcome to Improv for the podcast. On this week's episode, we have Gavin, who will tell us about his improvisational journey. We'll play a couple games, and most importantly, tell us how he improved his life. Let's hit it. Welcome to Improv for the podcast. I'm your host, Michael Lee Evans. Last week, you saw me interview myself. Thankfully, this week, you don't have to, because tonight we are here with the incredibly talented, hilarious, excellent Ted Lasso cosplayer, Gavin. Gavin, thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, Michael. Thank you so much for having me. It's a delight to be here.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, for some of you who may have listened to our past few episodes in the camp chat, I actually first interviewed Gavin back in October, but he's here in studio for a full-length episode. So if we got any Gavin fans out there, tonight's your night. With that said, Gavin, if you could just explain maybe how long you've been involved at IFTP, all that good stuff.
Certainly. I've been with IFTP since March of last year. I had Googled improv near me in person and came to a show and was immediately hooked, signed up for classes the next day, and have even doubled up some months and done 2 classes a month until this point.
All right, that's awesome. So just out of curiosity, what teachers have you been with in classes? What nights had you been taking classes?
So I've dabbled in a few.
All right.
I started on, I think it was Mondays with Jamie. Yeah, that was my first class. And it just was not at all anything I expected, and learned so much from Jamie and wanted to experience all of the teachers I could experience. So then after Jamie's class, I went to Matt's class and then Ava's class, and I've kind of jumped around from one class to another, mostly to immerse myself more in the community, the beautiful community that is IFTP.
Definitely, right? Get to know other people, get to learn from other teachers, so you're getting kind of a mix of everything. Because I know, definitely there's like a different flavor each night you go to class. And it's always a good flavor, but they're all different.
Right? It's like Baskin Robbins.
Yeah.
Where except I don't have to be picky.
That's
I can
true.
pick any class and they're all going to be delightful. In their own way.
Yeah. Like, honestly, the promise of 31 flavors, the truth is that a lot of those are going to be bad.
Yeah, a lot of those suck.
It's like maybe like 5 will be good.
Right?
That's the problem.
Exactly. And every time I would go to like Baskin Robbins as a kid, it was always the same one. Chocolate chip cookie dough.
That's a good choice.
A cone upside down in a cup.
Oh, yeah. Because that way, you don't have to deal with like the logistical issue of eating from a cone, but you still get to enjoy it.
Exactly.
Wait, we talking waffle cone?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Waffle, or sugar cone is like the lighter colored one. That, yeah, those are just weak.
It's like the cardboard one.
Right?
That's like what McDonald's ice cream comes in.
Yeah, not a fan.
Yeah, they're there. Yeah,
I'm glad they exist.
But a waffle cone, is definitely superior.
Right?
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm glad we're starting off on the right foot, because I take my ice cream cone opinions very seriously here on the show.
Good, as we should.
Yeah, it's been a huge topic of debate amongst all our guests. So I'm glad we're setting the record straight here with your first guest besides myself in 2023. So there you go.
I'm honored to be the first of the year.
We're a pro waffle cone podcast. All right, Gavin.
If we could get an ad spot from Big Waffle Cone.
Oh, gosh. If we could, Eggo, we're here and we're ready. Why doesn't Eggo make waffle cones? How is that not?
They certainly should.
Yeah.
That's like a huge missed opportunity.
Yeah.
I feel like the person in the boardroom who said that must have been just despised by everybody else or something.
Yeah.
Because that's a layup.
Absolutely. Yeah. I just realized that, because the number one brand I associate with waffles, Eggo.
Right? It's almost like Ziploc for
Kleenex.
waffles. Exactly.
Oh my gosh. We got to get them on the phone. We got to talk to Eggo.
We certainly do.
Imagine you go to a local ice cream store and you can get the Stranger Things X Eggo X whatever the ice cream store is collab, and it's all there in one dish. The upside down Eggo waffle cone experience here at After's Ice Cream.
This is brilliant. Maybe we should just open an ice cream shop.
Quit your day job because you've got a new one. Oh man. All right. Well, that's a good start. Maybe we should cut all that out so we can save it. All right, Gavin. I want to get into, of course, our tradition here on Improv for the podcast. We got to play a little three things because although I do enjoy waffle talk, we've got business to do here tonight.
Certainly.
So, as always on Improv for the podcast, we play three things, but it's personal edition. Gavin is going to slowly reveal tidbits of personal information about himself. And for those of you at home, you're going to write it down. All right. All right, Gavin. So you played three things before.
I certainly have.
Any questions before we get started?
None.
Awesome. All right. So our first category, Gavin, is smells.
Stinky.
1,
Sweet.
2,
And sexy.
3. All right. Names that begin with G.
Gavin.
1,
Greg.
2,
Geronimo.
3. Finally, things to do in San Luis Obispo. We're slow.
Hiking.
1,
Eating all of their food.
2,
And going to the beach.
3. These are three things. All right. Well, Gavin. There it is. There it is. All right. That first category. In my head when I thought of that, I thought it would be like specific smells, but you did like
Smell genres.
you're like stinky, sweet, sexy. And now can you define all of those a little more for me? So can you give me a stinky smell?
Definitely. It's like a sulfury sort of smell, specifically underneath Chair 5 on Mammoth Mountain, about halfway down.
Good to know.
There's a sulfur deposit there somewhere, and I smell it every time I've been there.
Okay. So, hey, if you're going to Mammoth Mountain soon, watch out, Chair 5. Hoo-wee. If you have to fart, that's the time to do it.
That's the fart zone.
No, it's a fart zone. Yeah.
They have those little flags up where it's like slow zone.
yeah.
You need a fart zone flag.
True.
Under Chair
True.
5.
That's important. You're on the chair,
Right.
you might need to let loose.
You're in the altitude, it messes with your digestive
Yeah, all that
system.
hot chocolate. Oh my gosh. Yeah, we're looking out for the people.
Right.
All right.
Exactly.
So you give me a stinky smell. Give me a sweet smell, Gavin.
Oh, a sweet smell. I personally love the smell of cinnamon.
Cinnamon. Oh, excellent choice.
A lot of people reserve it for fall.
No.
I think that's kind of fucked up. I'm allowed to swear, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank
Fuck
goodness.
yeah.
Bitch it.
That's not swearing.
But yeah, I love cinnamon all times of year.
Yes.
I put it on everything.
Yes.
So cinnamon is a nice one for me.
Okay, I'm with
I
you
also
there.
love a good tropical scent, like especially with a candle.
Oh, yeah. Some sort of
are
like
always
breeze situation. Yeah. You're like, this candle smells like a breeze. This got me. And they're usually blue in that. Yeah. Blue or green.
Or green. Sometimes they're like more of like or just a nice like off-white.
Ah, yes,
Kind
of
of
course.
mysterious, like the mystery flavored Airhead.
No, I remember those.
Best
yeah.
one.
Yeah, it is fun. It's fun to take a gamble with those.
Exactly.
All
And
right.
those smell good too.
Yeah. Oh, good point. All right. That last one. What's a sexy smell, Gavin?
Oh boy, I've really dug myself
Yeah,
in
we
here.
might be careful with this one.
Sexy smell.
Yeah. So I can think of a lot of unsexy smells. But
Yeah, it's certainly easier to think of a lot of unsexy smells. There's certain perfumes. I don't know the brands of them. I don't wear
Okay.
perfume personally. I also don't wear cologne. I'm not a big cologne guy.
wow, big musk guy over here.
I mean, I've always wanted to be, but every time
Sure.
I wear cologne, I feel like someone's following me. Because you get a smell, you're like, who is that? You're like, oh yeah, it's me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Colognes are made of the ghost of dead men. So
yeah,
That's
I'm
why they're
never
so
wearing them
expensive.
again for the rest of my life. Oh wait, I hope someone makes me into a cologne.
Oh, we'll see.
And that it's a sexy smelling one and not a stinky
the
one.
G scent. Brought to you by L'Oreal Paris.
Oh, okay. I'll take L'Oreal.
Yeah. They're reputable.
I trust them.
All right. So maybe some perfumes are like, all right, sexy scents. That's valid. I would agree. Perfumes generally, the right perfume can go a long way.
Certainly.
And the wrong perfume can go a long way the other way.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
We can leave it at that. We don't have to get too specific on that one. All right. Moving on to our next category. Names that begin with G. I bet you can't guess why I chose this as a category.
I mean, I have my suspicions. Yeah.
All right.
I think it's because my name starts with a G.
I thought it started with a J.
No,
Yeah.
it's a G.
Javin. All right. Yeah. Okay. Well, full transparency with the audience. As you know, I like to typically research my guests, but Gavin is an international man of mystery. He does not have much of a digital footprint, and so unfortunately, my digging was not as successful as it has been in the past.
Names that start with G is very creative, though.
I thought it was relevant to you.
It certainly is. And Yeah, I don't know why I've just never really been big on like posting things on social media. I use them like anybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, and it wasn't necessarily by like intent, but I guess, if I ever want to be a spy, I have a good shot at it.
Yeah.
A better shot than someone who posts every day.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So,
yeah. I mean, I think that's a good thing.
right?
Yeah.
I'm not very sneaky though.
Yeah, well, we can fix that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can fix
That's
that.
like tiptoeing on a treadmill.
Yeah, so you got to train, Gavin. Train
Workouts,
Yeah, we're gonna get you to the gym. You're just gonna tiptoe, heel to toe, heel to toe, heel to toe. We'll get you ready. All right. Okay, this is a dumb question, but if you could have another name that began with G, what would it be?
Oh my goodness. I kind of like Geronimo.
Geronimo.
Or like, because people, there's I like names with a lot of variations.
Okay, well,
You can go like Jerry for short with Geronimo.
That's true. Jer Bear.
Some people probably just call you Mo. I've still gotten a lot of like variations of my own name.
Gav.
Gav is a classic.
Yeah.
My nickname in high school and kind of persisting through college was Gav Mo.
Gav Mo. Okay.
Because it sounds like Bevmo
And Venmo.
and Venmo.
Wow.
I didn't realize
Yeah,
that.
there's a lot of Mo's out there.
Right?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's literally how it started. Someone's like, oh, Bevmo kind of sounds like Gavmo, and it's stuck.
Yeah.
There's a period of time where my parents called me Gavmo, my
Oh,
teachers
okay.
called me Gavmo.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, I feel like it's an old identity.
Yeah. You're like dusting it off. You're like, I remember this name.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Well, it's good to have other identities if you're looking to get into spy work later. So
Definitely.
Yeah. All right. That last category. Now, why did I bring up San Luis Obispo?
I assume you brought it up because that's where I went to college.
Exactly.
Nice.
Some information I could find on the internet where Gavin went to school.
Yeah.
So San Luis Obispo. I've always heard great things about it. I've been there once.
Okay.
It seemed nice. I was there for like a couple hours, so I don't really have much of an opinion, but I've always heard good things.
It's a really remarkable place. I think some of the people who have gone there and a lot of other people in California, similar to you, haven't stayed there for very long.
Yeah.
And so those of us who went to school there or people who have lived there or stayed there for an extended period of time would kind of call it California's hidden gem. It's sandwiched exactly halfway between Los Angeles and San Francisco, just about.
I saw that on their official website.
Is it really?
Yes, on the San Luis Obispo website.
Right. They have it like down to the mile.
I'm also the person who was on the San Luis Obispo official website today, so that says a lot about me. But
That's great.
anyway, so the hidden gem of California, tucked between Los Angeles and San Fran.
Yeah, and that's really not so much the best part about it. I think the greatest part about it is the campus itself is probably about the same size of the town's population outside of the campus.
Okay.
And also the people who live in the town pretty much all went to school there.
Yeah.
So it's very much a college town sort of vibe. I mean, I live in Westwood now, right next to UCLA.
Yeah.
It's not a college town vibe whatsoever.
No.
Like they kind of try. They have their UCLA stores and everything in Westwood Village. But Slow is just really, it's got a lot of like green open spaces as well. There's a great wine country, sort of like little mini one star there. I'm not really big into wine, but it's nice that I had the option.
You will be. No. Yeah, you have the option.
Yeah, and then of course, like the hiking is just absolutely breathtaking there.
Yeah.
And I was never a big hiker before going to college, and I'm not the biggest hiker now. But when I was in college, I had shoes and everything.
Hey, nice. There you go. You were ready, mountain man.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Very nice. All right, Gavin. Well, thank you for telling me a little more about breaking into those categories. And you're making me want to revisit Slow sometime. I got to head up there.
Recommend it. It's like one of the things I said was like you can eat the food there. Obviously,
That's good.
You can do that anywhere, really. Yeah. But specifically, I would say go to High Street Deli.
Ooh, sandwiches.
Let's get them to do it. We'll do an ad for them.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm into delis.
Right? Very good sandwiches there. But then also every Thursday night they have a farmer's market and like the whole main street shuts down. Man. And it's kind of farm country, so farms are like very strong presence there. Live performers and all sorts of good stuff.
It sounds good.
So go on a Thursday.
Good. All right.
If it's still on Thursdays.
This is a great advertisement for the Slow Tourism Board. They're sitting at home right now. They're like, yes, we're on the podcast.
We're so glad that guy went here.
Just getting numbers this summer, people. I'm kind of considering it now because it's not that far. So
makes me want to go back to college.
Yeah. I'm going to enroll. I'm going to apply. Get a second bachelor's degree.
There There you go.
All right, Gavin. So we got to get into it. We played our 3 things. Now it's time to talk about your life. So Gavin,
Open it up.
yeah, let's open it up. Be ready. Get the waterworks ready to go. So I'm curious, when was the first time in your life you just heard about improv or were exposed to it? At any point, you could have been an infant. You could have been in the womb. I'm not sure. It could have been yesterday. I'm not sure. When was that moment for you when you first learned about improv or what it was?
Yeah, so I actually remember it. I had, of course, I had seen improv on Whose Line Is It Anyways, but I've double checked this. I haven't watched all of it back like religiously or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I don't think they say the word improv throughout that whole show. They say made up on the spot. They say improvise, but they never say improv short. So the first time I heard about it was in an episode of The Office. Michael Scott doing improv episode. I've always been a huge fan of that show since I was like in middle school or so.
I mean, influential for our generation, I think. Yeah.
Exactly. And I knew it existed, and I knew there were classes that adults took, is what it looked like to me. And then also then later on in high school, I heard about an improv group at the high school, but I didn't know any of the kids in it. I wasn't super interested in theater or I had my hands pretty full with sports and all sorts of other stuff. So and then the first improv show that I went to was when I was in college, and I think it was a UCB show. And I was blown away by it.
Wait. You went to college up in San Luis Obispo and you came down here for a UCB show?
I did, yeah.
What?
Yeah, because I have always loved comedy.
Okay.
We'll drive as far as it took.
Pretty far. All right.
Yeah, to see a comedy show.
That's quite the drive.
And actually, I'm not sure if I was on my way down here for something anyways, or what the deal was. But yeah, it was a double date at the time, and it was. I don't know the actor's name. He plays Andre on The League.
Oh my gosh. Paul Scheer.
Paul Scheer.
Yeah.
So he was like kind of like the main guy up there doing it.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
And they based it all around this really interesting game where they would ask an audience member for their Facebook page, because this is when Facebook was kind of big, and people our age actually used it, not just
absolutely.
our parents and aunts and uncles.
Facebook was the place to be.
Right?
Yeah.
And they would go through their Facebook page and then ask him questions and then do a bunch of scenes based off their life. And I was just...
I think I saw a variation of that show at some point. Paul Scheer wasn't in it, but yeah, I think I remember it was either that one or they did an internet search history one.
Oh,
it was that one. It was called Search History. I think they still have it, but okay. So that sounds amazing. Mm-hmm. So you go, you see this incredible Facebook show. What were your impressions?
I couldn't. It was hard to. At first, I was just blown away. Just taken aback of just like. I know they're doing it on the spot because they're literally interviewing somebody in the audience. And I had seen comedians do crowd work before. Mm-hmm. And I know that that's very much thinking on your feet. But even so, like, comedians can ask the crowd the same questions, and they have their go-to questions and can kind of build from there. But nonetheless, I remember watching it just roaring with laughter.
Yeah, I believe it.
And thinking, this is something that I haven't pursued before in the past. Stand-up has really been something that really caught my eye and ear.
Yeah, that interested you.
Yeah. But I was certainly interested in going to see more. It was kind of like dipping the toe, but then I just went back up to school, on with my life, and then it was years until I finally joined IFTP. And I've been planning to take an improv class for a long time. Yeah. Ever since I moved to Los Angeles, I'm like, I want to do an improv class. I want to, but I had to kind of find my footing here a little bit first.
Yeah, the timing had to line up.
Took a few years.
Oh yeah, it can be tough to find footing here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. I mean, that's a great first show to see too. I mean, Paul Scheer, that's someone who's like a veteran improviser. Has done a ton of work, and I would imagine the rest of the cast too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So that's a great way to start. Yeah. Just pop down for UCB. I mean, they put on some strong stuff. So.
They really have, and I've also been exploring, seeing. I've been to a couple Groundling shows, but that's been after I've joined IFTP, and just I didn't realize how much improv there is in Los Angeles.
Oh my gosh, there's so much. Yeah,
there's a ton of it, and I feel very, very spoiled.
Yeah. No, we're in like, I mean, besides, there's like 3 cities, like 4 cities I think of. It's basically New York, Chicago, LA, Toronto. Those are the 4 places you want to go for improv, at least on this part of the world. And then if you're in one of those places, you're in a good spot to learn, to study, and to watch improv.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. And that being said, though, it is growing. I went on a business trip to Denver.
Ooh.
Yeah, this was over summer. And I was looking for something fun for my team to do on my sales team, and I was like, "Hey, looks like there's an improv show." And then I read the details. It said it was an improv jam.
Hey,
and none of my coworkers came, but I went and did an improv jam in Denver.
Did you jump up there?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome! I love that attitude.
Now anywhere I go, I'm going to be looking like, is there an improv jam I can do and be a part of? Because it's fun. Some of the characters that I work on here and I've refined here, I get to go show elsewhere, and it's the first time somebody else has seen them. So it's, I'm glad that improv is spreading its wings and growing all over the country.
Especially like getting to go to, I mean, just being in a different state, different city, and just be like, I'm just going to show up and do some improv. That's awesome. Like, it's got to be fun too. Just somewhere else, all new faces, but it's still the same thing that you're all doing, getting up there and improvising. Yeah,
it's interesting. I can't remember who it was that I was talking with. I think it was, it may have been Alan, who we had just seen a little bit ago, about doing jokes in front of people you know versus people you don't. Where, I think it comes down sort of like to personality or really just mindset, where I feel a lot less nervous in front of people I don't know. Like, I don't know.
Less pressure.
Yeah, I don't know these people. Like, I give a shit.
I don't care what you think. Yeah.
I'm gonna cross the line as much as I possibly can because you don't know where I live.
Gavin, your digital footprint now.
Oh, I know that's not on there.
Yeah. It's not. I tried. Don't worry about it. I think I agree. There's less of a pressure because strangers, what are they gonna do? They don't know you,
right? Yeah. There's that, and then there's also, I guess most people tend to care a little bit more about the people who they know or their opinions. Rather. But nonetheless, seeing your friends in the audience and seeing your friends laugh in the audience is just
sweet.
That's peak experience.
It's sweeter than all 31 flavors.
Oh, hands down.
Yeah. Oh man, I agree. Yeah, there's something about it. Like, I got my friends to laugh, and they mean it. It's not like out of pity, like, yeah, you did great. Like, if you really earn it, that legitimate. Yeah. That's a special thing. 'Cause it's your friends. It's people you care about.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, so I want to rewind a little bit because I mean, you saw this very influential Paul Scheer led comedy show at UCB. So it sounds like, at least from a young age, you had always been interested or enjoyed comedy. So what were, maybe growing up, I mean, I know you mentioned The Office, which of course, what were some of your comedic influences growing up, whether stand-ups, TV shows, movies, podcasts?
Yeah, great question. So since I was very little, I'm the youngest of 3.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you had some older siblings.
I've generally been able to make my siblings, my parents laugh.
Oh, yeah.
And like we were just talking about, making somebody else laugh is just like peak experience. It's the best. That being said, I was raised on a lot of different movies, a lot of Tim Allen movies.
Home Improvement. Yeah,
I thought he was entering the room. I was no way.
Yeah. I was too. So.
If you remember an old movie called Galaxy Quest.
Yes, I do.
I watched that movie every single day for a year. It was my favorite movie. It's so good.
Alan Rickman in that movie gets me.
Right? Yeah. Fun fact, Rainn Wilson is an extra in that movie. He plays one of the aliens.
I don't know that. Oh, okay. I'm going to have to find a screenshot of that.
Yeah. But Tim Allen movies or, just any movie that really had just funny facial expressions and voices. I liked Mr. Bean.
Oh, yeah.
A lot when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And, Mike Myers movies and you name it, any movie, I was watching it as a kid. And then I would be taking those lines and characters and using them in real life. Case in point, I remember the first time I kind of realized that I can make a whole room of people laugh. I was in 4th grade in Mrs. Vandy Mortel's class.
Shout out Miss Vandy Mortel.
Shout out. Yeah, she's
quite the name.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And I remember she was pulling down, remember they had a map at the front of the room.
Oh yeah, I do remember that.
Right?
Classrooms don't have that anymore.
I don't think they do.
Yeah.
The classroom I used to teach in did not have a map at all.
Same. No maps in our school.
Yeah.
Like
We just have no idea where we are these
kids
days.
don't know what maps are.
Right?
Well, they have Google Maps. That's why.
Yeah, I guess they don't really need
Kind of society's fault. That's a different problem for another time, though. Yeah. So, Miss Mandy Moore Vantel.
Almost.
Yeah.
Mrs. Vandy Mortel went
Mortel.
to pull down the map, and the whole thing just like kind of like collapsed. Maybe that's why they don't have them anymore.
Yeah.
And I just said, it wasn't me, like for the whole class, because everybody was kind of like shocked. And I yelled out, it wasn't me, which is one of like the repeated lines in a Harlan Williams movie, Rocket Man. Old movie.
I don't know.
But I yelled it out, and it got the whole class laughing, got the teacher laughing, and I was just like, oh, I like being class
you're like,
clown.
oh, here we go. Yeah. You unlocked something that day.
Exactly. Yeah. So, comedy's been a big influence on my life ever, like, since I remember it was very shortly after my 18th birthday that I was like, I can go to the Comedy Store now.
Yeah.
Or not the Comedy Store, but the Improv in Irvine.
Oh,
They
yeah.
have an Improv there.
Yeah.
And
Will Ferrell did a lot of stuff there in his
did.
early days. Yeah.
yeah, he sure did.
Yeah.
And I remember, the first show I went to, I saw Eric Griffin, who plays Montez in Workaholics.
Okay.
And I was a big fan of Workaholics at the time.
So seeing that, you were like,
like third row, seeing one of my idols up there. And then since then, it was just like going to the Comedy Store over and over again until I went to college, and there just weren't a lot of comedy clubs in San Luis Obispo.
yeah, it's just a different vibe up there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's a lot slower.
Yeah, sure. Sure. Okay. Wow. Yeah. Cause I think for me, like you're saying, yeah, like I joined IFTP in March, and like for me, like, when we've talked and like having worked with you in some classes and whatnot, like I feel like you've been at this a lot longer, like it just seems like you come with like the experience and the charisma and like the passion and commitment you bring to your work. It always shines for me. I'm like, dang, Gavin's coming through. Nice. Yeah.
Thanks, Michael. That is so kind of you to say. A lot of people have kind of said that. They're like, oh, you could just start, which is, I try not to let it make me feel like magnanimous or anything like that, because I still have so much to learn, so much to work on as well. But I'm in sales now, and sales is a lot of transferable skills from improv.
A lot of crossover.
Yeah, a lot of the tougher skills as well too. Like a really big one that I'd worked on in sales for a long time is being comfortable with silence. When you like challenge a customer or something like that, and they're sitting there kind of thinking, it's really easy to fill the void with words. And the same thing goes for an improv scene, where it's like not like something needs to be said at all times. Sometimes that pause, that wait is really necessary. And then also listening as well. I think that's the biggest component of improv, because it's fascinating. I heard Russell Brand say this quote once of, when you're thinking, two things are happening simultaneously. Like just when you're thinking, inside your head you're speaking, but you're also listening. It's like there's two people in there performing one job, right?
Yeah, I was just trying to think about the two things that were happening as you were telling me that, and now I'm like, oh my gosh,
right? It's fascinating. So if you're thinking in a scene, you're trying to think up what's the next line that I'm going to say, what sort of zinger can I land to get a laugh. You're not listening to your scene partner, and that's where the really funny stuff happens, is between the two people up there.
Yeah.
Stand-up is obviously different. You do a lot of the thinking beforehand, then you bring it up onto stage. But as far as those listening skills go, I think those are like maybe paramount, most important thing for an improviser is to be a good listener.
Yeah, and I think I would imagine for sales too, like you're quickly building relationships, right? I don't know if you're cold calling or what exactly you do like in those sales, but like I don't think you're going door to door, but like, hello,
no.
I've got a vacuum cleaner for you. But you're probably introducing yourself to people, getting to know them in very quick interactions and moments. So you want to make them feel comfortable. You want to be an approachable person, and like humor can be helpful in those situations. Just being able to be quick and, like you said, comfortable with silence, because I think if you're not uncomfortable with silence, things can get weird. You're just like, so anyway, and then,
exactly. And people like pick up on that right away. If you're like kind of exuding discomfort,
they'll feel it too.
they'll feel it too.
Yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, like kind of like you were saying, as far as like sales goes, and it's not to tangent into a whole other topic here, but improv skills are just so transferable, especially like in a sort of sales arena. More or less, it's picking up on something your customer said that, in my mind, I have a solution for them in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
And when they say a certain word or something like that, I'm like, okay, I'm going to kind of try and work this solution in organically.
Yeah.
And improv is kind of the same thing, where it's whether it's a point of view that we have tucked in the back of our mind, or it's funny. I'm not sure if you remember this. One of my favorite moments from camp. It was in the class that you were teaching.
Yeah.
And I was doing kind of like a Boston sort of accent.
Okay.
Like I was laying in, no, that's my Australian one, but I was laying into the Boston, I was laying in the Boston accent pretty thick. And I said, like, Tommy, no one ever saw him again. In the back of my mind, I knew "soar," like putting an R on the end of it,
British,
is something that everybody like from California is just like, what?
Yeah.
None of us talk like that sort of thing. And I knew that in the back of my mind throughout the whole scene. I was just like, oh, I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it at some point.
Yeah.
And it got a big laugh. So, yeah.
Oh, man. That's cool. I don't remember that. I can't remember anything, Gavin.
That's okay.
It's all podcast now.
Well, it's part of improv. It's very ephemeral.
That's true.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
It's
fleeting.
Yeah, exactly. It's gone immediately. And I think it mimics life that way.
Yeah.
Life is sort of fleeting in a sense. If you hold on to too many things, your hands get full.
Yeah, whoa, I like that. But what about when you carry in all the groceries at once?
That is actually a very good...
That's my counterpoint.
That's a very good counterpoint. You've stumped me there, because I love doing that. Only taking one trip from the car. Meanwhile, I've got like 3 bags on each hand. I'm opening doors with my feet.
You get real creative in those
hitting
moments.
the elevator button with like my hip. And, it's just, there's something about, I don't know why it makes me feel so manly.
It's...
Right?
Yeah.
It's just like, man, I carried all the groceries in.
It's like one of the most efficient things you can accomplish.
Exactly. So that being said,
yeah,
you can only carry them for so long, and then you have to put them down.
That's true. I think it's going to the grocery store, buying your groceries, and then carrying them all in at once fulfills like the ultimate hunter-gatherer fantasy. Because you're playing both roles, and you're like, I brought everything. Like, especially if you're by yourself and you do it, you've provision across the board. You're like, look at this, I've provided. And like, we don't even have to go back. It's all here right now.
I feel like we're discovering all sorts of businesses today.
Yeah.
There's a market for that, like an app or something like that. Like they have all these like task, like hunter gatherer.
Yeah.
Just gatherer. Something
That's true.
along those lines. People dressed as cave people, getting your groceries for you, carrying them in on a big stick.
If Instacart had more theme to it.
Yeah. That's what it's
I
missing.
think people would really, really jump on that.
Yeah, we need to meld entertainment with task grabbing.
Yep. There are a lot of actors out there, just saying.
Exactly.
There's a lot of actors.
They want to work on their characters.
If I got a character, that Geico caveman? Well, you're in luck. Yeah. More businesses need actors. I think that's what we're learning. That's not true. All right. I'm getting back on track. Because I love how you naturally mentioned like some like improv skills and transferable to your work, and how that's a very real thing. But I want to get back to kind of how you got started with improv, because you had seen that improv show and like improv was something you had wanted to try out for a long time. So you were in college in San Luis Obispo. At some point, when did you move to LA? Like post college, all that.
So I was in college for 4 years, did 1 year of a teaching credential program.
Okay.
Moved to Los Angeles to teach middle school science.
Got it. Oh, yeah.
I taught for 2 years, and you taught before.
Yes, I did.
Especially your first year teaching. It monopolizes your time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're teaching all day, you're planning lessons all night, and then to start working in like the basic tenets of life, like I don't know, maybe exercise or a social life. It's like those are all coming secondary to work.
Oh yeah.
And then even into my second year, like it gets easier because you have all these lessons from the previous year, but half of them are garbage.
Yeah. So you're like, what? I was so dumb my first year. Now I got to redo this. Yeah. You have to fix it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like my first year teaching, I was a science teacher. So we did an egg drop.
Egg drop. That's the best lab. It's
classic lab.
Best lab of all time.
Yeah, except I did egg catching devices because we didn't have a second story. So we had to build something that you could drop an egg into and the egg wouldn't break.
That's an interesting spin.
The first lesson or the first like time teaching it to the 8th graders, they turned it into a let's throw eggs at each other competition.
Nice.
So
Also fun.
yeah, I had to scrap that idea or just
Yeah.
completely rework it for the second year. But nonetheless, I digress.
Yeah.
So in Los Angeles, though, I knew that in college I was in a fraternity. That's like my social was built in there. In high school, I was in sports. Social was really built
Yeah,
in.
you're given those structures.
Exactly. And now in adult life, I'm like, okay, I have to do this for myself. And there's so many different things that people can get involved in. It's really actually kind of infinite. And I didn't realize that until I joined IFTP because I had finally found my thing.
Yeah.
You know, I was right after college was kind of continuing with like going to bars a lot and spending a lot of time, like kind of drinking and partying with people. But
because that's college. Yeah.
exactly, it's like that's what I was used to. That's how I met people. But then you realize that kind of like a lot of the connections you're making while you're doing that aren't super authentic.
Yeah.
Because, you're not,
they don't last outside that night.
Exactly. So I knew that I wanted to try improv. And sort of leading up to it. So taught for 2 years. And then for about a year, I started this new sales job. And I was dating somebody at the time. So that was kind of like my social was sort of baked in that way.
Yeah.
Also went to a lot of concerts and everything like that. And then the pandemic hit. And with the pandemic, after looking into improv classes, I was like, they have these online improv classes, but I don't know, just conceptualizing that didn't really click with me.
Yeah.
And then
It's not good. Yeah.
I could imagine. It's just like how frustrating, because I was of course, we were all in meetings on Zoom throughout the pandemic. And the number of times that I was muted and didn't know.
Yeah.
If I was doing some really silly sort of voice or character or something, like trying to get people to laugh, and then I'm just looking at a blank screen, everyone's like, you're muted.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't think that was a good environment to sort of start off in.
Yeah. And it's dead silent too. You're not hearing any feedback. It's just you.
Exactly.
The webcam.
Right. And I did some Zoom, I went on some Zoom dates over the pandemic.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I have questions.
Okay. Yeah. I have answers. I say like, they're good for, making sure the other person isn't a serial killer. Obviously.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's a good screening process.
But the feeling and it's kind of there after a Zoom meeting at work, but that feeling right when the Zoom ends and you just sit there and you just hear silence. You're just kind of like, well, like, what am I going to do now? Okay.
I hit that just yesterday morning. So,
And so I figured to try improv for the first time and to afterwards be like, well, I'm still here in my room.
Yeah.
It just didn't sound like my cup of tea.
Yeah.
So I saw a friend's improv show. And I'm not sure what sort of group he was a part of. It was, I don't know, maybe like 8 people total that were all part of their own group. They weren't part of a school
like
or
an
a
indie
class.
team. Yeah.
Like indie team. Yeah, exactly. And so I was chatting with him about it and I was just like, dude, how did you find this? I've been looking for something to do. And he just said find something in person to start out with. So I Googled in-person improv classes. I live 5 minutes from here. And I was like, this is just meant to be. It was made in heaven.
On the west side.
Yeah. And then even so, I wasn't ready to fully jump into classes yet. So I came to a show and it was more you were in the show and it was all the IFTP faculty.
Okay. Yeah.
And
in March.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't remember the show.
It's all podcast.
It's all a wash, Gavin.
And I remember it wasn't so much the show itself or the jokes that were said. It was very funny. It was the energy.
Yeah.
You could feel it from...
There's always good energy.
Exactly. You could feel it from the people in the audience walking up. And then my 2 roommates who kind of went with me, they were like, you should do this. This is we can see you doing this. Please, for your sake and ours.
Yeah.
Get in there and give it a try.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're just one of those people who should have always been in here, and I'm glad you're here now.
Oh, thank you.
Because I think you got a knack.
Thanks. It does feel like an itch that I'm finally scratching.
Yeah.
I've performed not in like theater for most of my life. I was in chorus all throughout high school.
Oh yeah, me too.
And no kidding. And really enjoyed that. Had like great teachers for that. And being a teacher yourself, you're kind of like being on stage. And it's not like I need to be the center of attention or anything along those lines, but there's something about the sort of the combination of like the anticipation of like doing something, and it forces you to be in the moment when you're presenting in front of people.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to not be present in the moment. So the more I can build my environment around being present, I want to fill my time with that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. So you're coming up on an IFTP anniversary then pretty soon.
Very close.
Pretty soon. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. Well, that's exciting. So you started back in March in Jamie's class. And how was that first, let's say, month or 2 months here at IFTP for you?
It was not what I expected at first. I expected to come in thinking like, I'm going to be really good at this. I'm going to really excel here. I've been on stage before. My friends think I'm super funny. And I remember the first class, I barely made anybody laugh. And I was just like, oh man, like,
Yeah.
and it was more of a beginner's sort of class and vibe. There's
really
a lot
like
of people
the building blocks of scenes and things like that.
Exactly. Also, we all had masks on, which is like,
Oh yeah, back when we were still, yeah.
yeah, and it made it difficult to read people's facial expressions or understand each other at times. But nonetheless, like that first class, I remember coming away from it where it's like, well, I signed up for the whole month and I'm going to go to every class, but maybe this isn't the right thing for me. And then the second class, I had people roaring in laughter. And then the third class, it dialed back a little bit. So I was like, oh, it's different every time.
Yeah.
And as I've been taking more and more classes, like I've been trending upwards with not necessarily the grade of my performance, but how much I enjoy it. Sometimes I come to improv class and I'm in a mood or I'm in my own head because stuff's going on in my life.
Oh yeah.
And improv can be great for getting me out of my head. But nonetheless, it's like, it's different every single time. It's not like you're coming here and saying the same 31 flavors.
Good callback. That's very true. And I think, like so much can influence how that class goes each night. So much that's going on outside, like of these walls, right? You come in and it's like, you have something going on in your personal life, something at work, like who knows?
Yeah.
And that can seep in a little bit to your work. I know for me, that's something I try not to let happen, but we're human. So
Exactly.
it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Things bleed into other things.
That's exactly true. And, not even just like for yourself, it could, I don't know, I'm kind of big into like energy and like the things that people sort of give off. And it's when you're kind of down or you're in your head or you're frustrated about something, you can kind of give that off to the people, especially when you've been doing class with the same people for a while.
Yeah.
And you're building this sort of network. It's not just you up there that's doing this for yourself. It's like you're a node in a network of all the people that are in the class.
Yeah.
And, as I've been building relationships with these people, it's not that I've picked up on something like, oh, they're in a bad mood or they're not bringing something. I've never once necessarily felt that, but I have felt at times that I've been in a bad mood and other people are trying to lift me up when I'm in a class. And that's just, those are some of the best days ever where it's like, I came here so frustrated and upset or worried or stressed, and I'm leaving with a huge grin on my face. It's perfect medicine.
It is. It really is. I 100% agree. And I think, like you said, sometimes you're the one lifting other people up and sometimes you're getting lifted up. And you never know. And that's kind of the fun of it. Each week.
Yeah. And most people, they don't even know that they're lifting me up while they're doing it.
Yeah.
They're just being themselves.
Yeah. They're just getting up there and trying to do that scene, do that game, whatever it is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And, if I could just, I'll hammer it home with this one point here. I think the reason for that is a lot of the reasons are at least for the stress in my own life or the worry in my own life is because I'm being hyper judgmental of myself.
Yeah.
Maybe I had a bad day at work or, I am struggling like romantically or something along those lines. And I'm being really hard and down on myself. The community here at IFTP is the least judgmental community of people. Like, I don't know what the opposite of judgmental is, but that's the people
accepting,
here. Accepting, exactly.
Inviting, welcoming, yeah.
All of those. It's, and it's not that we're to say like, okay, that scene wasn't great, let's take it back and do it a different way sort of thing. It's, we're still like kind of analyzing the art form, but in no way do I feel like, oh, I did something wrong. I did something bad. It's always just met with people who are here to enjoy life. I'll pay whatever amount of money and drive as far as it possibly takes to spend 2.5 hours a week doing that.
It's good to know, Matt. I hope you're listening to that now. But I get what you mean. Yeah, it's something. Yeah, you're like, you realize the value.
Yeah.
And you're like, wow, this is something. I'm glad I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. So since you started improv to now, about 9 months, let's say, what do you think are, maybe give me 2 to 3 lessons that you think you've learned about improv or in classes so far?
2 to 3 lessons about improv.
Yeah.
So you kind of mean like sort of tricks of the trade, like things that I'm doing.
That you've learned as an improviser.
Okay, terrific. So the big one is relationship drive. It's like I kind of said earlier, you're not up there by yourself.
Yeah.
At least for most scenes, you're not up there by yourself.
Yeah.
And from performing in shows to performing in class, the camaraderie that's built from this art form is unlike any other that I've experienced before. Compare that to like singing on stage with a bunch of other like chorus performers, not the same camaraderie.
Yeah.
It's even like I would say it's equally as potent, but in a different sort of realm of like the camaraderie that I built with like my fraternity brothers when I was in college. I still am very close with those guys, but I'm also incredibly close with the people here. And that's because the more you drive scenes by the relationships within the scene, the more you learn about another person, the more it's kind of like this delicate sort of like dance that you see up on stage rather than, someone just being funny and making you laugh. Usually they are making you laugh because what we do is very funny.
Yeah. 100%.
But yeah, so number one is just like drive things through relationship, and it's a good way to kind of live life as well. I don't know, we're relational human beings for the most part, even if you're introverted versus extroverted or anything like that. Like our relationships are, at least for me, they're what make life worth living. So that's one, make things relationship driven. And secondly, the one that I'm working on a lot right now is point of view. Your character should have a point of view. It's not like just be the guy up there with the silly voice who says the silly things. It's what does this character want out of this scene?
Yeah.
And actually,
it's getting juicy.
Yeah, it makes it a lot more authentic. Where it's like, I love doing voices.
Yeah.
And
me too.
It's so much fun, right?
Yeah.
Especially in the drive-through. It's great when you order food, and they're like, what are you saying?
Yeah.
But nonetheless, it's to have a point of view behind it. It makes it so you're not just thinking of what to say. It's just reacting to what the person is doing up there. Yeah, and it makes it just look like a little like microcosm of life.
Yeah.
Instead of a scene, as it were.
Yeah, people buy into it so much more quickly.
Exactly.
So like, oh shoot, what's this guy's deal?
Yeah,
they want to find out. Okay, those are some good lessons. All right. So let's say you're doing a show, improv show. Maybe it's a course show. I don't know. You have some
coming up next month.
There you go. Wow, you're part of a course right now, or improv show?
An improv show.
Improv show. Okay. Yeah. Well, awesome. I'm looking forward to it. When is that improv show?
It is February 18th, Saturday.
Saturday, February 18th. All right. We'll talk about that more as we get closer to it. It's like a month away. Really. All right. Do you have any pre-show rituals that you like to do? Any little traditions, rituals?
Oh, yeah.
Do you feel comfortable sharing them?
Definitely. 1,000%. Because I don't just do them before shows. I've done them before job interviews.
Which that's a show.
Yeah.
Job interview is a show.
I've landed just about every job interview I've had. Only one that I didn't, and I'm blaming it because my fly was down the entire interview. So
it's a presidential election. No.
No, you live and you learn.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, so I had heard from a friend of mine in college that taking a like power poses, like sort of like a dominant sort of stature, whether it's like, well, we're sitting right now, but like, so sitting up straight, but I take it to the next level before a show. I get in front of the mirror and I flex.
Sure.
Maybe do a couple roars.
Yeah.
Just let it out. Also was a big fan of the show Entourage when it was out.
Okay.
And so like Johnny Draba's Ooga.
Okay. Yeah.
I do that before the show a few times. Yeah. Just to try and like get into the persona, maybe some hopping around on the feet a little bit.
I like that. Get the heartbeat up.
My first show, I did take one shot before the show. I know.
It's a dangerous road you're going down, young man.
I know. I was very nervous before that show, and I was just like, okay, I need to just calm the nerves a little bit. And
I've done that a couple times.
you know, it's like, and to be honest, it didn't necessarily mellow me out.
No.
It hyped me up.
Yeah.
You know, it kind of got me into like, all right, let's do this.
Yeah. I think one shot does that, you know, and that's,
Exactly.
it's not gonna,
You know, it's medicinal.
Yeah, it's an upper.
Yeah.
So, well, the first one is an upper.
Right. Exactly. I'm not pounding them, you know, backstage in the green room.
Yeah.
And then also just, I have to say, being in the green room itself is
That
a
space.
whole vibe. Yeah. You know, it's just like, I was like, oh, I've never really been in one of these before. I mean, essentially, it's just a room. It's like
Yeah,
a
it
living
is.
room
Yeah.
with a kitchen and a bathroom.
The one we have here is pretty nice, though.
It's great. Yeah,
it's
it's
good
got-
seats, nice bathrooms. There's a shower up there.
There is.
My goal one day is to use it. Yeah.
Your goal is to use the shower?
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to just any shower. Still waiting to do that. No.
Big bath guy over
that
here.
one. Yeah. Yeah. Big bath guy. You know, I just love going to the well, getting some water, boiling it, and then dumping it on myself. No, I don't know. I think it's silly that there's a shower up there. So it's kind of one day. I don't know.
It's
I don't know when I'll have
ridiculous.
the chance, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Now I kind of want to use it too.
Yeah. Just
I'm wondering what the water pressure
because
is
it's an
like.
odd place for there to be a shower, you know?
really
I mean, I get it. I guess that could be useful in a pinch. Who knows?
I guess.
But I like the idea of like, all right, guys, I got to get ready for the show. I'm going to hop in the shower real quick. Someone hand me a towel when I'm done. Like,
Yeah, you know,
it's just strange. Yeah.
it encourages that the show must go on.
Yes, no matter what.
Because I think that there are some situations in life that are an immediate go home moment.
Yeah.
Like, you shit your pants, that's a go home moment.
Oh, not here. We
Not
got a
here.
shower.
We got a shower.
You shower out those pants, Thomas.
Yeah, exactly.
And you get back out there.
Exactly. So, you know, it's as far as other things that I do to kind of like get ready and prepare for the show.
Yeah.
I do like to, leading up to it, days beforehand, watching my favorite sitcoms.
Ooh, yeah. Just
know,
get some comedic inspiration.
Exactly. Picking up on the little things that make me laugh, not to repeat them into the show, but, you know, we all pull our comedy from
You
somewhere.
have influences, yeah.
Yeah.
And that inspires you based off of those things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, you know, some of the shows out there just have like some of the best. Parks and Recreation has some of the best characters.
Big fan.
Yeah. Arrested Development
Andy
as well.
Dwyer, Tom Haverford, you know, all those guys. Yeah. John Ralphio.
Oh, John Ralph. That's the interesting thing I would say about Parks and Recreation.
Yeah.
It has some of the best side characters out of any show.
Mm-hmm.
Jeremy Jam.
Oh, yeah. Just got jammed.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, man,
Yeah.
Jammer Jam. Yeah.
So yeah, I'll watch those shows, and I think that there is a big need for more televised improv.
Yeah.
Middleditch and Schwartz is
Yeah.
phenomenal,
Oh, yeah.
amazing. Whose Line is
Oh,
great.
yeah, of course.
Although it is, I don't want to say antiquated, but it's a bit just like dated.
Yeah, I think it's okay to want fresh formats for things. I mean,
Exactly.
it's a show that started in the 90s, right? Like, we can mix it up, you know, we can innovate.
Yeah, we have new topics to bring in that weren't there, like cell phones. They don't talk about cell phones once, and
Yeah, and it's
know?
like, yeah, we need to get that. Like, we had you. Those are a huge part of life.
exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. If you ever get the chance, Ben Schwartz, he has a live touring show called Schwartz and Friends.
Okay.
He performs in LA pretty often with that show at the Largo, if you know that venue.
I don't.
Where is it? It's in Hollywood somewhere.
Is it big?
Decent size, but like,
With a name like Largo, you'd expect it to be like large.
yeah, it's a couple hundred seats probably,
Okay.
but it's a cool venue. You got to see it. His show, it's so good. He is an incredible live performer. I've gotten to see him a couple times, and
I have a question for you. If you could pick one celebrity to do improv scenes with,
I mean,
I'll let you pick two.
okay, I might say Ben Schwartz. Let me earmark him real quick and let me think.
Okay.
Because he's definitely up there. Okay, no, I'm going to say, if I can pick two, I'm going to say Ben Schwartz.
Okay.
And then he's so good. Okay, so we'll keep him there. This is a tough question, Gavin. You can't put me on the spot like this. It's very rude.
Well, I apologize.
I'm going to flip the question on you, though.
Okay,
in
please do.
In 20 minutes when I think of my second person. That's really tough.
Well, let's see. There's so many to pick from. There's so
Yeah,
many great
yeah.
ones because, and of course, we want to pick someone who's kind of niche.
Yeah,
You know, somebody that would be interesting to do it with. But I don't know. I'm always fascinated by celebrities.
I'd say, wow, I can't think of her name. But she just left SNL. Kate. Kate McKinnon. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I'd say Kate McKinnon.
That's a
yeah.
great
Or Cecily
choice.
Strong. She's good too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are both great choices.
I mean, they're way above me. But or Amy, I'll shoot Amy Poehler. Yeah. Throw her out there too. Let's get her on stage.
Oh, I'd love to do that with. I'd love to do improv with. I mean, with any like a celebrity, just to see.
Yeah.
What I personally like. I would like to think that I wouldn't get starstruck.
Yeah.
But I know that I would.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I would have to go with Steve Carell.
Oh, yeah.
And
yeah.
well, I mean, it's like
Yeah.
I've seen some of his like. There's a documentary about like a show that he did, and I got to see some of his earlier improv stuff.
Yeah, when he was at Second City. And
And there's one of him being Fabio that is just so funny.
Man.
And then also Will Arnett.
That's yeah, that's good. Just for his voice.
Yeah, exactly.
just to do scenes with his voice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, those are good choices. Yeah, Steve Carell, Will Arnett. Oh, there's so many. Yeah, because now I'm thinking about like older like SNL cast and like, you know, improv from like 70s, 80s, 90s. Shit, I'll just say like Robin Williams. Actually, no, I wouldn't want to do a scene with Robin Williams because he's so good that I wouldn't want to detract from the scene.
Yeah, I would want to be in the audience. For that.
I'd want to get out of the way.
Yeah.
I'd be like, Robin, I don't want to make this bad. Or like, you know, like Jim Carrey, same thing. I'll be like, nah. Yeah.
Yeah, I know exactly.
Yeah, those guys are powerhouses. I don't want to, like Eddie Murphy. Nah, you do it. Yeah.
Right. It's funny. I feel like there's some improvisers here that like I pick up like a vibe from. Like, for example, I would say that Liam has kind of like a Robin Williams sort of vibe, like sense of humor to
He's got
him.
that. He's quick, man.
He's so quick.
He's quick.
And like, you know, there's so many great people that I aspire to be as good as that are here.
Yeah.
Like at IFTP.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
we don't need celebrities. We've got the community here.
We've got IFT celebrities.
Yeah,
IFTP
exactly.
celebrities.
Those are our peeps, IFT
Yeah.
people.
Ooh, there you go. There you go.
Yeah.
All right. A couple more questions for you, Gavin, and then we're gonna get to our games. So our second to last question tonight. What do you think so far? And I think you've touched on this a little bit, but has been the impact of improv in your life? Both that could be in work, just in taking these classes, in your personal life. Mm-hmm. You know.
Yeah, great question. Improv really, it's interesting. When I'm doing a scene, there's times where I feel like, oh, I'm so in my head right now. I'm really trying to think of things. But generally, in life, improv helps me get out of my head.
Yeah.
I've gone to therapy for like a couple of years now because
Ooh, shout out therapy.
Yeah, right on. You know, it's
Almost as good as improv. But,
yeah, it's good, but just in a very, very different way.
Yeah.
But no, and I do try to bring it up often. I think that the conversation needs to be more commonplace, not to like encourage people to go. I think everybody who should go once at one point in life. Anyways, I would go to therapy because my whole life I've been a worrier. Worried about school, worried about work, worried about romantic life, whatever it may be. I tend to overthink things. And it's kind of like I was talking about, maybe that's why my whole life I've sought sort of like performance-based like careers, whether it be through teaching or sales.
Yeah.
But when you're up there like on stage in improv and you don't have the time to think, then you get into a flow state more easily. And, you know, I think everybody's experienced a flow state, I hope, at least once in their lives, whether it be through like a lot of times, oftentimes it's in sports, where you're not even thinking, you're just nailing it all the time. And the more you practice, the better you get at it. It's interesting. I was talking with Sid about, you know, improv kind of reminds me a lot of golf. I dislike golf. I'm terrible at it.
As do I.
Yeah.
I've only been to a driving range once, and I didn't know what I was doing.
Right?
Yeah, it was bad.
And it's, you know,
It's fun hitting the ball, but I'm bad at it.
Yeah, same here. I'm awful. And you have to put in a lot of hours to get really good at it.
Yes, you do.
My roommate's really into golf. He loves it. I'll go golfing to hang out with him and spend time with people. A good round of golf for me is one where I don't lose every ball that I bring. But nonetheless, when you're golfing and you're holding the club, there's a million things you can think of.
Yes.
It's like you got to hold the club a certain way. You got to keep your shoulders back. You got to, you know, eye on the ball and then hit it like just underneath. All these different things. If you're thinking of all those things, you're going to forget some of them. You're not going to do some of them right. And it's going to take you forever. Same exact thing with an improv scene. An improv scene, there's a lot of different, I got to be thinking relationship driven. I have to be thinking, okay, what's like the premise or the base reality, the who, the what, and the where. I have to be looking for the game. There's all these things that you can think of, but if you're stuck in your head thinking about them, it's going to take too long. You're going to overthink it.
Yeah.
So to just live there and be in the moment. So that's one thing that's like, improv has really impacted my life. And like I said, I try to fill my life with more of these things that bring me into the moment. So improv has been the most powerful one, right up there with therapy and meditation.
Yeah.
Have been things that kind of, starting to shape who I am as an adult. And then I don't know, I'm a big fan of of symbolism. I think that improv is such a microcosm, a symbol of life in and of itself. It's very much, and especially here at IFTP. Now, granted, I haven't taken classes anywhere else. To be honest, I don't really want to.
Yeah.
I mean,
if you're happy, I don't think you need to.
Right. And I may in the future, but if I do, it'll be in addition to what we have here at IFTP.
Absolutely.
And the main reason for that, and I've thought about this a lot, is that improv for the people and improv classes here is a perfect example of an infinite game. There is no winner. There is no loser. The whole goal of the game is to get as many people to play by the rules as possible and to bring more people into it. Yeah. And I think life needs to be a little bit more like that. It's so easy to get caught up in the culture here of, we have to be succeeding and achieving and moving forward. And of course, growth is great. And you can grow as an improv performer as well. There's nothing wrong with that. But the best thing about doing it here is it's literally impossible to step on other people while you're trying to climb.
Yeah.
In fact, it's a lot easier to climb when you're pulling somebody else up with you.
Yeah,
you climb
teamwork.
a lot faster.
Yeah.
And where else do you get that in adult life?
Not a lot of places.
Exactly.
I mean, they call it the rat race, right?
Yeah. And granted, there's people who maybe find it through sports or something. That's the only thing I can think of. It's funny. I went a couple months back, I went paintballing.
Oh, wow. That's a throwback, I feel like.
Right? I had been a very long time, and there were teams out there of adults paintballing.
My gosh,
and I was like, no way.
And they're probably pretty serious, yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, so there's some places where you can find your team, your niche.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm just so grateful that I found mine here. And it's funny, as I settle into Los Angeles, and I wonder what part of Los Angeles I'll move to or I'll live in. Will I move into the valley where I work? Will I stay here on the west side? Do I want to move closer to Hollywood so I don't have to drive so far for improv shows?
Yeah.
And wherever it is, it's just I'm staying as close as I can to IFTP so I can keep on doing classes here.
We've looped you in, Gavin.
Oh, I'm hooked.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Right? I feel like an initiate.
Yeah. I think what really stood out for me for what you said is just the idea of, it's easier to climb a mountain when you're pulling other people up, rather than, stepping over them, crushing their hands, gripping on rocks. And, I think that's such an important thing. And that's something we have here that I think as adults, especially in a city, you can live in a city and feel like the loneliest person in the world. Yeah. Which sounds so stupid because it's so crowded here, but it's like that sometimes.
It really is.
Yeah, and I know I can think of, in my life over the years, I felt that a lot, especially in my early post-college grad life here in LA. So that's a very real thing. So I think it's important, and that doesn't mean everyone has to do improv. I mean, of course I encourage it, but find that thing for you, right?
Exactly.
What is that team you can be a part of?
Yeah.
Not in work, because then that's work, separate from that.
Exactly.
Whether it's paintball or improv
or golf.
And those are the only options. So pick one and get good.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think that's very important.
Yeah. It's everybody's got their country club.
Yeah.
Mine's IFTP.
And ours is a lot cheaper.
It certainly
and
is.
not racist. So that's good. Country clubs are a weird thing. I don't know. I don't have experience with them at all. Just, in movies and TV shows. So I'm it's just, really interesting to me. Interesting places.
Anywhere with a dress code, not for me.
Yeah, I'm unless it's a fun dress code. You have to wear a Hawaiian shirt. And okay, I'm in.
I can get behind that.
Yeah.
Silly dress code if they're it's Halloween, you're not wearing a costume.
Yeah. Get out.
It up. Yeah.
Yeah.
That I can get behind. But I was playing golf at a country club once, and the guy's like, you have to tuck your shirt in. And I was just like, dude. And you can't wear your hat backwards. I'm like, what are we, in grade school?
Well, excuse me, Ash Ketchum? Yeah.
Yeah, right. I'm playing Pokemon Go out here.
Yeah. It's getting serious. That means I'm about to hit a hole in one. That guy has no respect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stuff like that. That's stupid. Like, sir, your backwards hat is disrespectful. Like, come on, get out of here.
Right? Yeah. It's just not for me, but it's for some people.
Yeah.
And I hope everybody out there, like, if they feel like they're struggling in life, first, like, I highly recommend therapy. It's done wonders for me.
Yeah.
Secondly, get out there and try to find your thing.
Yeah, find your
thing. There's a lot going on in life. There's you're trying to figure out your job. You're trying to find your husband or wife or partner.
Yeah.
You're trying to make things happen for yourself, but take some time for yourself and figure out what makes you come alive.
Yeah. Yeah. Ooh, 100%, 100%. Gavin, you're just like shooting out like magnificent quotes right now. So keep going. All right. So my last question for you, Gavin, because you just spilled and gave us some good nuggets of wisdom right there. What's next for you? What's next in your comedy journey, your improv journey? Do you have any goals in particular? Are you just going to kind of see where it takes you?
So I've always very much been a go with the flow, see where it takes me sort of person, present in the moment, the everlasting present moment will take you where it's meant to go. That being said, I do have some aspirations. And the one that I'm most attached to, like, I've had the thoughts of, like, or if you've ever watched a commercial and you're like, I could be Jake from State Farm.
Oh, absolutely.
I could be that guy, or the Mayhem guy from I don't know.
That guy's, he's making a killing. Yeah.
They all are.
Flo from Progressive?
Yeah.
Improv, that's where she started.
Okay.
I've seen her perform. She's so good.
I bet.
She performs with the Groundlings, like, pretty frequently. She's really good.
I bet she is.
Yeah.
And so I've always watched, like, commercials and been like, oh, maybe I could do that someday. But that's a very far off, like, aloof in the clouds. If it comes into my realm, into my sphere, I hope I'm ready for it, sort of thing. But something that's a little more tangible.
Yeah.
That I'm working towards right now. I want to get to a place where I'm ready to teach IFTP classes. I want to be part of the faculty here. You and all of the faculty are just such incredible people that I'd love to be part of that group. And not only that, like, teaching is a big part of who I am. I taught for 2 years.
You've done it. Yeah. I understand that. Yeah.
Right. And so to give this art form back to the community because it's given so much to me.
Yeah.
And to extend the infinite game and get more people to play and teach them the rules. That just sounds like, the melding of two of, like, my favorite parts of the world. And even if I were to teach here, I'd still take classes. Because that's the one thing I was talking with Benjamin about. And I was just like, what's the hardest part about being a teacher? He's like, you don't get to do scenes as much as you'd think.
Yeah. Something I miss.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't. Yeah.
So, whether to become part of the faculty here, that's on my list. And I think there's a lot of growth to happen before that.
Yeah.
I've started reading some improv books to just understand the craft better.
Yeah. Yeah. There's some good stuff out there.
There's a lot of good stuff out there, but it's interesting. It's when, I think it was just the timing of when I was reading them. I started reading them maybe 3-4 months into improv.
Okay. Yeah.
And I started reading them and I was trying to think of things the book was teaching me in the scenes. And I was kind of getting in my head a little bit.
Yeah, that can be hard.
And it's also because I wasn't a very big reader at the time. That was one of my goals for 2022 was to read a lot more. So it's interesting how, like, reading is a skill to some degree.
It is. It really is.
Yeah. The more you read, like, the better you get at it, and the more you'll be able to pull. And then
audiobooks. I'm telling you, audiobooks.
Fantastic.
The UCB manual you can get it as an audiobook.
Oh, great.
As a kid, I was a bad reader, but as an adult, like, I can kill some audiobooks. And I'm like, oh, okay, so this is what I was missing. And, like, all growing up. And, like, now I'm like, I destroy them.
And they're great for developing voices.
Yeah, because you hear so many others. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah, that's audiobooks. That's the way to go. I'm trying to read a book on paper right now, and I haven't done that for a while.
Okay.
But I was like, okay, like, I'll do it. Like, it was a Christmas gift, and I'm thankful. Like, it's a book I'm excited about, but I'm like, So I just, like, blasting through audiobooks.
Yeah, that's kind of just one of those sort of, like, those gifts where you're like, oh, great. Like, thanks. I'm really excited about this. But also, it's like homework.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
It's the book. It's Jerry Seinfeld's book. It's called Is This Anything?
I've read it.
Oh, okay. His, like, 40 years of comedy notes.
It's fantastic.
Yeah. So I read like 50 pages, but, it's so quick because it's just, like, little bits here and there. But it is really cool. So it's the first physical book I've read in a while. So I'm like, okay.
I think my favorite part about that book is, you can kind of hear it in his voice.
Yeah,
It's a terrible Jerry Seinfeld.
Okay. I can't do a Seinfeld. but you hear it in his voice, that kind of whiny, high pitch, like as he does. Yeah.
It's just, I read Matthew McConaughey's book, same sort of thing. You can really hear it in his voice.
All right.
It's just kind of laying in there real nice, like a piece of butter on some flapjacks, just sizzling on it.
I gotta look into that just to like pick up his voice from the text. Oh man, I do love me some McConaughey. All right, amazing. Well, I think those are some really awesome goals, Gavin, and I can definitely relate to like being a part of this IFTP thing and wanting to like give back and like give more because we got a special thing going here. Yeah. So very much, I see you, Gavin.
Oh, yeah, I feel seen.
Yeah. All right. You ready to play some games?
Let's do it.
Ooh, here we go. So we have 3 games we're going to be playing here tonight, Gavin. And for our first game, this is one I'm excited about. This game is called Halftime Speech. Whew. And Gavin, you are the coach of a sports team. I'll tell you the sport in just a minute. And your team, it's halftime, and we're down. And you, our head coach, needs to give us such an inspirational speech to help us get out there and win the game because we're losing right now. This is the championship of our sport, which again I'll tell you in a moment. But this is the championship of our sport, and we're losing. We're losing this game.
Unacceptable.
So you got to help us turn around here at halftime.
Sounds like a plan.
All right. So you are the head coach of a wiffle ball team, and we're down at halftime. I guess wiffle ball is halftime. You got to give us a speech.
It certainly does. Because us boys, I see you out there.
You do, Coach?
I see you. I see that performance that is just, well, I'll be quite honest. I've seen better performance in a kiddie league. And we're grown men. Do you feel like a boy out there, son?
Yes, Coach.
Okay, well, we need to certainly do something about this because I've seen you perform better in practice. I've seen you perform better just swinging golf clubs in a completely different sport. Up there, it's like you're trying to bowl or something. But you know what? I believe in you.
You do?
This country is made off of Cinderella stories. The comeback kids. That whole stadium out there that's looking at you, it's more of just a couple of bleachers, but if you think about it as a stadium, it's
dozens of fans.
Coach. Dozens. My wife is out there. I want to make her proud.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Coach's wife. Yeah.
Right?
She's
Do
hot.
it for Sharon.
Yeah.
She sure is, but you keep your eyes to yourself there, son.
Yeah, eye on the ball. Yeah.
Exactly. Eye on the ball and not on her. So what I need from you is I need you to believe. If you believe in yourself, then you can achieve anything that you put your mind to. So I want you to close your eyes. Envision the wiffle. See that little wiffle ball with its little holes all in it. Mm-hmm. Feel that extra light yellow skinny bat. Smell the fresh crisp air. Feel the dirt underneath your feet. Get out there and don't fuck this up any worse than you already have. Now go get him, team.
For Coach's wife.
Let's go.
Blackout. Oh, what a speech. I love your coach persona. You snapped right into that. I just thought, I thought about your Halloween costume, and then I was like, I feel like Gavin would be a good coach. Like, that's just what I thought of. So I was like, I'm going to make him give a speech as a coach.
It's funny because at first I was like, I hope it's a sport that I kind of know something about. And then I realized I don't know anything about any sports. So you could have picked anything. I'm glad that we landed on wiffle ball.
Oh, yeah. I just often Matt made fun of me for this, but for most of the games, I just for suggestions, I just Google whatever I'm looking for, random generator. So I did sports random generator, and I was like, all right, great, wiffle ball, which I like because it's a little weird. So it's wiffle
definitely.
ball.
And yeah, no, I really look up to Ted Lasso. I think it's such refreshing television to see somebody who's so positive and uplifting.
Yes.
But then again,
it's rare.
One of my favorite parts of most coaches and TV shows is that they get angry.
Yep.
There's something about an angry coach.
Yeah.
I remember like making my swim coach in high school angry, and I didn't care that much about swim teams, so I just really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
so
it's
like,
whoa, coach is mad. Yeah.
He's like, "Constance, or quit swimming under the lane lines," and I'm like, "That's exactly what I'm gonna do."
You're like, all right, coach. Yeah. Got it.
Yeah. So I try my best to bring them together.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. My favorite Ted Lasso line, because it's a good line, is, when he's like, be curious, not judgmental. And I'm like, what is that, like a Walt Whitman quote or something like that? One of those famous quotes or whatever. But that's one I often think about. And I'm like, dang it, I need to remember that more.
Yeah.
That's a good life skill.
I love that too. One of my favorite Ted Lasso lines is when he's like, he goes, "Oh, if he thinks he hates us now, just wait till he falls in love with us." He's like, if you ever think someone hates you now, just wait till they fall in love with you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. Yeah. Season 3, that's got to be coming out. All right, you're good. Pick it up right now. No, just kidding. Put him on the show. All right.
Hey, welcome caller. You're in on the IFTP.
Our first ever live caller.
Yeah, exactly. We got exciting. A button for him and everything.
Yeah. So, Gavin, I want you to open up your phone, pick someone random from your contacts, and we're going to talk to them right now. And you need to sell them something. That's our next game. No, just kidding. That would be extreme. No, I'm not going to do that. But our next game, this one is called Age Switch. So, in this game, Gavin, we're going to begin a scene, and you're going to start at a particular age, and then at some point, I'm going to snap, and when I snap, that means you're going to change ages, and I'll give you the 3 ages beforehand, so you know.
Okay.
So you're playing the scene, but you're going to be a variety of ages throughout the scene. You'll be 3 different ages: your starting age, different age, and then a different one.
Okay.
And I can remind you of what they are if you forget.
I probably will.
Okay. So when you hear me snap, that means when you switch ages. I'm going to give us a suggestion of a relationship just to help us get started.
Cool.
And then I'll black us out when...
I get the ages first, though, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So you're going to start, you're 25.
Cool.
Your second age, 13. And your last age, 94.
Got it.
94. All right. So the ages again, you start at 25. First time I snap, 13. Second time I snap, 94.
Okay.
All right. And our relationship is a bartender and a regular customer.
Terrific.
All right. Here we go. Cornelius, give me that whiskey sour, will you? Oh, it's been a day. It's been a day, brother. Let me tell you.
Has it? Rough day down at the mill?
Oh, you cannot believe it. I had another new guy, pinky finger, whoop, right off.
Wow.
He was an idiot. Absolute idiot.
Carl, that sounds like a rough day for him, but also a rough day for you, my friend. You know what? I'm going to make you another one on the house here just because
Thank you.
I appreciate you.
Yeah.
You always come by here. And, you're always welcome to share your problems with me, man.
Thank you, Cornelius. Thank you. I mean, you do make the best whiskey sour in town.
Right?
And
It's just a pre-made mix, but I appreciate it.
Hey, well, it's the way you pour it. It's the way you pour it, son.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. And, well, I do feel bad for the kid, but he's got 9 other fingers. And frankly, I'm going to spend more time dealing with the insurance paperwork than he will in the hospital.
Jeez. Your hand's going to be cramping up more than, your hand's going to be in more pain than his with all the
Absolutely.
The cramping and whatnot.
And I've got early onset arthritis, so it's painful really to fill out all those papers.
Oh my goodness. We got to, well.
Yeah, it's painful.
Arthritis sure makes it sound like it's, I don't know, kind of hard to play video games and stuff, I bet.
Yeah. I mean, sure, Cornelius. My son, he's big into that Fortnite game, and
no way.
I try and play with him.
How many
sometimes.
first places does he have?
I'm not sure. He yells at the screen a lot, and I often have to ask him to quiet down. It's actually kind of annoying. All right.
My girlfriend.
Pass me those peanuts, will you?
Yeah, I mean, I guess, but my girlfriend always yells at me when I'm playing Fortnite.
Oh,
I yell at the
I
TV.
didn't know you were seeing anyone, Cornelius. Congratulations.
Yeah, we've only hung out online It's
doing internet dating. Yeah.
yeah, she gets on Zoom call with me and
Yeah, that's got to be tough.
yeah, but she's like so pretty though. She's got
That's
like
good.
yeah,
That's good.
she's like got really big blue eyes.
But eyes are good. Eyes are good.
Yeah, eyes are like they're like the boobs of the face.
Wow, that's, I've never heard that, but sure. Yeah, why not? Why not, Cornelius?
Yeah. And just like with regular boobs, the eyes get saggy, especially underneath them.
I suppose.
Sometimes life is just like that. It's saggy,
It is saggy today.
slow.
I'm feeling pretty saggy today, Cornelius. I mean, maybe it's the
Well, certainly, I bet you are, Carl.
2 whiskey sours I've drunk. Could you give me one more of those, please?
I'll do my best.
Yeah. No rush, obviously.
You're gonna have to wait a bit there.
You slow down a little bit.
So, this business at the mill. Oh, damn it.
You spilled. That's all right. That's all right.
It's the Parkinson's.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know. You've had it rough.
So, if you wouldn't mind just lapping it off the floor, I don't think I'll be able to pour it for you.
Absolutely. Blackout! Well done. Well done. You embrace those other ages well. Yeah, you're just a normal bartender at first, but I love, I mean, that was great. That was great. Really well done, Gavin.
Well, it's funny. 13 is an odd age to do because it's kind of like, I didn't want to just play like timid.
Yeah. No.
And like 13's right where it's just like, oh, there's a lot of childishness to a 13-year-old.
Oh, yeah.
Forget. I mean, I used to teach them. Those kids, they say the darndest things.
Boy, do they.
Yeah.
Boy, do they. That is, that's so true, Gavin.
Yeah.
All right. So for this last game we're going to play, and I teased this to you earlier, but the audience doesn't know yet. This game is going to be called Gavin's Followers. And in my attempts to research Gavin on the internet, I did find a Twitter account of his that has no tweets, no likes, like nothing. But he does follow 10 accounts. And so what I've decided that we're going to do is that I have a screenshot of some of your followers on here, and we're each going to pick a name from this list of followers, and that's going to influence our character for this scene. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to be Micah Wiener.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's me. My name will be Micah Wiener. And can you go ahead and pick a name from that list for me?
Yeah, definitely.
This is called Gavin's Followers. There's a couple cut off, but like one of them was, I think, your swim team. And then like some other like school kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm going.
So I'm Micah Wiener.
Yeah, that's a good one.
If that's a real name, I feel bad.
Pronounced Weiner.
Oh,
so
okay.
he says, but it's spelled Wiener.
Yeah, I was like, nah, dude, that's Wiener.
Podcast host of all people.
Oh,
actually.
yeah. Oh, well, then if you're a podcast host, you could be a wiener. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Welcome to the Wiener Show, the show where we whip it out each week. That's something.
Yeah. And I'm going to take any opportunity I can get to be Will Ferrell.
All right. Yeah, I saw that on there, and I was like, oh, man. That looked like early Twitter to me. Like,
oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's like someone, being stupid. Because, the handle is legit Will Ferrell.
I don't think there's a blue check mark either.
No, there's not. And it says, I am the one and only Will Ferrell. So we know it's him, folks. And maybe it is. All right, so we got Micah Wiener and Will Ferrell. And we find Micah Wiener and Will Ferrell. We're at the monastery today. That's where we are. All right. Okay. And then whenever we're ready. Will, I really like that new fresh monk haircut you got. It looks really good.
Oh, thank you. It's actually a really kind gesture for you to say that, Micah. I just figured, going to the monastery, there's a good chance I join the priesthood.
Yeah.
And if I want to get in, I better, look the part, act the part.
Yeah.
Dress for the job you want, not the job you have.
Of course, yeah. I know,
obviously.
I know we're both in the monk mentorship internship program. We're both, hoping to be monks. So
Yeah.
I think you're right. Dress the part. Dress for success.
Yeah, and you'd think that they'd accept everybody this year, but a lot of people want to be monks. It's competitive.
So yes, there's a huge class this year.
Cutthroat.
A lot of 5-star recruits as well.
Certainly.
Yeah,
it's
I'm a bit intimidated by the competition.
oh, definitely. The piety is high. There's a lot of pious people.
Oh
out
my
there.
gosh, yeah, so many pious folks. I met a man who he just prays all day, all day.
All he does is pray.
He took pray without ceasing, from the Bible, very literally.
Good gosh! I mean, just save some for the rest of us.
I know. I was like, hey, God's got other folks to listen to. All right.
He certainly does.
He certainly does.
And we don't know how many ears that God has.
We don't. No one's asked him.
I wondered, is with God listening to all of us, who's up there listening to God?
Who's God's God?
Maybe we should. Maybe I should bring that up.
Yes.
In my interview
with Archbishop Frankincense.
Frankincense, yes.
Yeah.
Archbishop Frankincense.
Good. Yeah.
He's a very holy man.
He is a very holy man.
And he's certainly filled the shoes of priest Myrrh.
Yeah.
Priest Myrrh, right?
Yeah, Priest Myrrh.
Priest Myrrh. That's just it's an important place here.
Yeah,
This monastery. It
It
brings
is.
a lot of peace and joy to the world, yet much persecution as well.
absolutely.
And I like that.
Yeah, and
I think it's a good paradox.
yeah, and I'm gonna be honest with you, Will. A big reason I wanted to join the priesthood, the monkery, if you will, is because of my name. Growing up with the last name Wiener, it's brutal. And
I could imagine.
oh, sorry, was that a laugh?
Clearing my throat.
Ah, of course, yes.
Like
I often
brother Wiener, as it were.
yes, yes, Brother Farrell. Yes, I was told that once I joined the monkery, I could take on a Christian name.
Oh,
and,
really?
I could lose the surname of Wiener. And I thought, growing up, I always thought to myself as a boy, I said, what a sinful last name I have. What a phallic last name I have. And, phalluses are often violent and evil and induce sin.
They certainly might. They very well can.
In a way, I'm kind of circumcising myself from my name.
Oh, look at that.
Yes.
A name incising.
Yes. So I hope to no longer be Brother Wiener, but I just Brother Micah.
Brother Micah.
Yes.
That does tend to roll off the tongue quite a bit better, but if it's okay with you, I'm still
Yes.
going to call you Brother Wiener because that's hilarious.
Well, you are my roommate here at Monk University.
Right.
So,
Monastery U.
Yes, MU. Yes. So I'm all right with that. But I wanted to ask, and perhaps this is a deeply personal question. I've explained to you why I, applied to school here and I'm attempting to get into the program. Why are you here, brother?
Well,
Brother Farrell.
we are here in the monastery, so as you know, we shan't lie.
We shan't lie.
I'm here for the women. There's just something about nuns that just does it.
That's true. But
What's under there, there's just so much clothes.
there's nothing a man loves more than mystery.
Right? And, I know it might not be the most holy of ventures, but it's, I just can't
it's holy.
resist. Oh, it certainly is. But yes, I'm afraid to say that it is for the women. So I'm not sure if how long I will last here,
Of course.
or how long some of those. Your sister is a nun here, is she not?
She is. Yes.
She is?
Yes. We.
Sister Wiener.
Yes. Yes. We both had a similar motivation for joining
I
and
see.
applying. That's why we're both here. Yes.
But other than Sister Wiener, just
Yes. That's.
making the world a better place. If only Father and Mother Wiener were here to see.
Yes. Yes. If only they were here, but they passed away in a tragic accident.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yes. It was it's really painful to talk about, but it's just, my parents were butchers, you see,
Oh,
and
goodness.
just an accident with a knife.
Well, that sounds like it could have gone in a lot
Yeah.
of different ways, but I'm
Yeah.
going to assume it was not pretty and quite traumatizing.
Yeah.
You have a family here now, and you
I
can
do.
leave the wiener behind
I-
and just be
Yeah.
Brother Micah.
Yes, I'm sorry. It's just the memory of my parents. I'm trying to get it out of my head. The newspaper headlines after their deaths, quite awful.
Oh, were they?
Yes.
Did it? Was it covered by all the major publications?
It was.
Oh goodness, you can't avoid it.
The media attention, just headlines such as, death by wiener. Yes.
Death by wiener.
Death by wiener.
That's
quite brutal.
It sounds quite like it.
Cut wiener, 2 dead.
Oh no.
They just all start, they're all coming back to me now. Wiener accident leaves family in peril.
Leave the wiener in the past, Brother Micah.
You're right, Brother Farrell.
This is the new you.
I'm here to be with the Lord now.
And I'm here to be with your sister.
Blackout. Oh, man. Oh, I could have lived at that monastery for quite some time, Gavin. I don't know about you.
It sounds nice. It sounds lovely. I bet the beds are comfortable.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for playing those games with me, Gavin. I had a great time. When you started that Will Ferrell voice, it was just, it sounded a little bit like Will Ferrell. So I was like, oh, this is rich.
It's funny because I was thinking, I want to do Will Ferrell's voice, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like I was just doing Anchorman.
Yeah. That's kind of what I thought of. So I was just like, oh, this is great. So before we wrap up tonight, Gavin, are there any final words you want to leave us with?
Oh my goodness, I knew this was coming. I'm such an avid fan of the pod, and now that it's here, that it sits in my lap.
It's your final words. Ooh, so don't mess this up, all right?
Okay, I'll do my best, sir. No, my final words, it's interesting. I think I'm probably going to just reiterate some of the ones that I've already said.
Of course, yeah.
Which is get out there and find your place. Find your people, and just make it happen for yourself. And you never know what it might be. As we talked through this episode of, my path was kind of clearly leading to here, but I didn't know that this was what it would be like once I got here. So if you have like an interest, anybody out there, if you have an interest in improv at all, you have nothing to lose by giving it a try, and so much to gain. I mean, it's the first class of the month for a lot of people today. Yeah. And seeing all of those faces light up in the lobby, the anticipation, the excitement, the nerves to it a little bit even. I have a feeling a lot of them are going to stay. I mean, I did, and so many of the people who I started with are still here too. And we still spend so much time together. We have game night once a week.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, and now I'm in the Wednesday class, and we do dinner once a week. And then some of us from the Wednesday night class, we've been doing comedy shows, plays, just going to an event.
That's fantastic.
At least once a month.
Community.
And, it's just start filling your life with more things.
Yeah.
There's a good chance, I mean, if you're anything like me, that we've already spent damn near an eternity on our phones or sitting on a couch. And there's always time in our life to do that, is what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to say that that's bad. Yeah. But what I am trying to say is there's so much of a world to be explored and lived and experienced. And the experience you'll have here will be, at the very least, incredibly fun, perhaps life-changing like it has been for me. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well said, Gavin. I mean, you've given us so much good stuff. So thank you for your wisdom. Thank you for sharing a little bit of your comedy. Oh, thank you for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure, Michael. Indeed. Thank you for continuing to put out all of these episodes. Every time I get to listen to a new one, it fills me up with joy. No, well, just wait till tomorrow. No. You might not feel that way. No, I'm kidding. But your episode, definitely. All right. Well, thank you so much for Gavin for coming on the show. If you enjoy Improv for the podcast, we always encourage you, if you want to reach out on one of our social media platforms, you can find us everywhere: Twitter, Instagram, not Facebook, TikTok. We're on all those places. And if you find yourself enjoying the show, feel free to leave us a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. That's, I think, where most people are listening these days, but we're on every platform. Anyway, we'll see you next week. But until then, Improv for the podcast was created by Matt Moore and Michael Lee Evans. Edited and produced by Michael Lee Evans. And finally, presented by Improv for the People. Interested in more IFTP? You can visit us at improvforthepeople.com or on our socials, such as Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube. Remember, new episodes are released weekly. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next time.